Well, looks promising, right? The speed, the logic, the ability to understand context, it's on a completely different level. But, you know, a polished trailer is one thing. The real question is what happens when you put it in the hands of actual developers? Let's see what actual developers have to say using it.
All right, thank you so much for coming here today. We brought you all here to test GPT-5. You're one of the first people externally to see it and to get your hands on it. Your first task here on Dev Island is to open up ChatGPT with Canvas and switch to GPT-5 thinking and create a personal website.
Oh, it's dark and pink, but it is quite girly, so happy with that. Yours is cuter.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
What?
Let's see what you got.
I said Mac OS 9 themes. Yeah.
Nice
so
prompting.
it actually has some windows here. This is one-shotted. That's actually pretty cool.
I've got it to build me a drawing app where I can draw
Oh, you're already on
mouse,
step 5.
and it gives me an SVG of the drawing as it goes.
All right, let's move on to individual testing. You're welcome to test the model, do whatever you want with it, build your own app with it, put it in your existing apps if you like, see how it works for you. Please have at it.
There's the legendary ball test. It's a fun test of physics and its knowledge of Python and like weird game mechanics. Yeah, that's one of the best ball tests I've seen to date.
So, I've got my classic Pelican SVG benchmark where I ask it to draw me a picture of a pelican riding a bicycle. What I've never done before, though, is had it do that in a loop. So it draws the pelican, then looks at what it's drawn and has another go.
So I made this like little platformer, which is like probably like 3 prompts, and I haven't touched the code at all. So that's been pretty cool. You have to like kind of stomp on the enemies. I'm not very good at this game. So since I added the lava, I've not beat the game yet. Yeah, I'm gonna have to make some adjustments in order to actually beat it. Keep dying.
I'm coming to it from a practical user point of view in trying to solve an actual problem with this model. What set of problems would I solve? What's the experience?
The original ball prompt was way too easy, so I gave it a significantly harder one. It went a little crazy with it, but it doesn't have many opinions of its own. Steering it makes it do what you tell it to.
I do like how the pelican's feet are on the pedals. That's a rare detail that most of the other models I've tried this on have missed.
I'm taking my product, ChatPRD, which is an AI for product managers, and I'm updating the key parts to use the new model. And then I'm comparing inputs and outputs.
The first time, it really nailed all the mechanics, and then it kind of like visually wasn't that interesting, so I just said make it look better. And it added like mountains, it added stars, it added gradients, added like some bloom effects.
The point is that GPT-5 is more agentic. Let's see what it does. So this is make a tic-tac-toe game, and this is O3. It does a pretty basic tic-tac-toe game. This is the same prompts with GPT-5. It's a lot more flashy. It's got sound. And an AI, which I mean, it just beat me. Yeah, we're gonna draw. Oh, I lost again. I'd love to hear what you feel about GPT-5.
It ran so fast that I didn't think it was actually running the tests. You know, we had like 30 minutes. I made a personal website. I have like a platformer game. Like I like used it a bunch to improve like our actual app. Like it's a pretty like insane amount of stuff.
I have this Chrome extension I've been working on. I primarily focus on agentic coding, so I want to just test the maximum capability. I think it was much better than other models in terms of adding telemetry, using those telemetry to make inferences, and then fixing those bugs. I think that was the key breakthrough.
I dumped the documentation for my own little Python library for working with LLMs into it and then told it to build me a script based on this documentation that runs my Pelican benchmark in a loop. The bicycle was flawless. Even today, most models have trouble drawing bicycles because most humans have trouble drawing bicycles.
The thing that stood out the most to me was it kind of just did what you told it to, and it wouldn't insert some things. The system prompt really shaped the behavior.
It is an engineer. Like, you read the outputs. It's exceptional at code generation. I also had the same experience that on the front end, none of the current models I think have good taste. They all do like AI slop aesthetic, and this one actually kind of one-shotted things that I thought looked nice from a front-end perspective.
It's really good at Tailwind and like good styles. I just handed it an ugly app and said, make this less ugly. The first try did that really well. So it's unopinionated except for gradients and making your website look nice. Yeah, it's very tasteful with design, I found in general.
When I had it do this little like drawing app, and it like implemented a color picker, and the color picker like worked, and then it had like a thickness slider, and the thickness slider like worked. Like usually I don't see that. When I was making a platformer game, I had some point I said like add a jetpack. It added a jetpack, but I had to actually pick up the jetpack and like added like a little fuel level. That's pretty cool.
Up until very recently, I've had zero trust in these things. I know that they will hallucinate, all sorts of made up. So I love feeding in raw source code and asking for documentation without giving it any of the existing documentation. And it nailed it. It gave me the exact information I needed. It gave me a full architectural overview. It was clearly very good at consuming 250,000 tokens of Rust. Because for me, as a sort of consummate code reviewer, my trust issues are beginning to fall away, yeah.
He's saying GPT-5 so good he's turning into a vibe coder. That's what I heard.
There we go. That's exactly it.
As a product builder, that was my exact takeaway as well. I was like, this is the first one I would trust to go wild in a pretty large code base.
As an AI collaborative coder, you can actually trust it as a coworker. Like I think that's ultimately what all of us want.
It's definitely by engineers for engineers. Highly technical, exceptional, instructable, can execute, solves the hard problems. Everybody needs one of these on their team.
Absolutely incredible. From a development point of view, that's really a game changer. The infrastructure, the performance, and the operational clarity it provides for coders is just next level. But what does it mean for us? The non-technical founders, the creators, the entrepreneurs who want to build without writing a single line of code. If we think that's powerful from a development point of view, let's look at what that could do from a design and non-code perspective. This is where things really get interesting.
This is basically the age of oracles. This is basically the age of oracles. We can now interact with intelligence, and we can just ask anything we want. My name is Pietro. I'm a designer and developer, and I'm the CEO of Magic Path, and it's a design tool with AI at the center. I have this philosophy that nothing is real until it's in people's hands. What I really care about is the interaction. The special thing about GPT-5, it is the closest model that I experienced to actually get your ideas. One of the many applications that I built with GPT-5 when I was testing the model, I asked for basically a camera app where I can draw in real time in the air, and he has sense of my hand movement. We have the canvas in a camera. We have our hand tracking movement, which is pretty crazy. You know, you can just like resize the size of the brush just by doing this. When I open my palm, and if I close the palm, the palette goes down. GPT-5 just like did this in one shot. And I think in particular with GPT-5, the things that really struck me the first time that I use it is that innate sense of creativity and taste. I asked GPT-5 to create a beautiful infinite canvas app where I can drag and drop photos, text file, and website all in one file. It was the choice of spacing, typography, rhythm, the framing. It was really like I was talking to a designer. A lot of times, you can be a great engineer, but you might suck at debugging. GPT-5 excels at it. It actually returns a larger amount of code compared to other models, and it's actually coherent code. And when you combine speed, intelligence, reasoning, tool calling, understanding, everybody now is going to get access to the best intelligence. It's going to be great to see like what people are going to be able to do with this.
So today we're going to put this to the test. No theories, just real-world application. We're going to see if ChatGPT-5 can truly close the gap between idea and execution for people who don't code. Here's the plan I've mapped out. First, we're going to test its website building capabilities. I've got a web page we've built with Replit a while back, and I want to see how quickly and accurately ChatGPT-5 can recreate that front end for us. Secondly, we're going to move over to a full application. This is the real test. We're going to see if we can build our own code CLI, a command line tool similar to what you saw from those developers. That takes natural language and creates code for you. That's a complex challenge. So let's see if ChatGPT-5 is up for that. Let's go. All right, guys. So what we want to do is once you are logged into ChatGPT-5, you want to go and you want to say extend thinking, and then we want to start. So for the first test, we're going to do the landing page. So let me show you what the landing page I'm thinking about rebuilding. So this is the AI Founder Story Challenge. This is a landing page we've built with Replit, and it is quite good. I mean, there's a lot of fancy features here, a lot of good animations, a lot of good functions. So we're looking to rebuild this entire website on ChatGPT. So what I'll do is I'll go to Replit and I'll get the entire prompt we used, right? So this is the prompt. I'll drop it in here. By the way, guys, I also added the application design specification template, this prompt template we use, and this is whether we're using it for web apps or whether we're using it for websites, whatever the case may be. This helps significantly to get through exactly what is required to build an app and to take everything into consideration. Now, again, that's in the description down below for you guys to access at no cost. So let's jump into the design. So in ChatGPT-5, we also want to add the screenshots that we used for Replit, and let's see what it comes up with. So here we can also see how it is currently planning, how it's going to build this landing page. I'm curious to see what it looks like. So as we can see, it's currently coding. I'll let you guys know once it's done. Okay, it's done now. So we're currently running the code to install the packages and see what it came up with. Alright, interesting. It didn't really take into consideration the look of the different cards on the landing page as we have it here, even though that was in the prompt. So let's see what else it did. Right. Yeah, not ideal, not ideal. So let's try something else. Let me use the URL, and then what I'll also do is I'll go and I'll screenshot the entire site. Now, okay, so now let's take this landing page and drop it in here for chat, and we can say not quite what we were looking for. Here's the site. That I would like you to rebuild, as well as a screenshot of the site if you need to have a look at the UI. Let's see what it can do from here. Okay, it mentioned that it's done now, so let's run this and look at, okay, we're getting somewhere at least, but there's definitely a lot of areas that needs to be adjusted. But we have the gist of it, right? So there's not... It looks like we have a skeleton of the site, but there's going to be a lot of time spent on it, and I would say not too bad. So, you know, if I was looking to use GPT-5 to build a site, unless you wanted to use its own creative freedom, I would highly advise you dropping in some screenshots and perhaps adding the links inside there. So let's now move over to building our own CLI. So I'll create a new chat here. I'll leave it on 5 thinking. And then what we want to do is we want to go to the template here, and we want to ensure that we can bring this template into your preferred AI platform, whether it's ChatGPT, Claude, Grok, Gemini, etc. I'm going to use Gemini, and I'm going to say I'm looking to build my own CLI application that can help me code and develop applications. Then I'll just paste this prompt. By the way, guys, this entire prompt, if you want it, is... By the way, guys, this entire prompt, if you want it, is inside of our school community. I dropped a link down in the description for you guys to access that as well. And then what I'll do is I'll also say, based on the above information, for now, let's build only the front end and fill in this template accordingly. Then I'll go in template. Again, guys, remember this is down in the description below for you guys to access at no cost. Then I'll drop that in there. I'll just say, give me the output for me to paste in a LM. So let's wait for Gemini to get back to us with the exact structure we'll need in order to ensure that ChatGPT knows exactly what it needs to do in order to build the CLI for us. Okay, this is all done now. Gemini has gotten all of that for us. So let's take that over to ChatGPT. Let's drop it in here. And let's see what it comes up with. Alright guys, so here we added all the information for it, and then it thought for 49 seconds, and then it started to create all of this, but I think it misunderstood. It was supposed to give me the front end, but it gave me all the steps to try. So let's tell it consideration and build the front end for me in order for me to test it here before I push it to Git or try to run it locally. Let's see what it comes up with now. Okay, it finished with the UI. Let's see what this looks like. Okay. We can choose quite a bit here. We can navigate around in it. Right, so it's not ideally what it is giving me, but again, these are all mock outputs. This is not a bad thing. We can definitely play around with this and use this. I mean, if I spend a lot more time on it, there's a lot that we can do. What I like about here is the playground, where we basically drop in code here and it gives us a example of what that looks like, similar to what Replit has here as the preview, which I think is extremely awesome to have, and the same that Chat has here. Yeah, there's a lot that we can do here. I would want to bring all of this into one specific section, similar to what Replit has, but it's a good start. I think it really gives us a good understanding of what we can build. So now let's try one more build, and let's say create a front end UI for me to test here in GPT-5 of a LMS, learning management system, similar to school.com. Let's see what it can build for us regarding this specifically. I'm going to show you guys now how we can also reverse engineer a idea. The first way we did it was we utilized the template. We told the LLM what we wanted and it filled out the template. Now let's first build the UI, see if it works and what we're looking for, and then from there we can ask Chat to then fill out the template based on the UI that it's created, and then we can use that template itself to go and build an app or a site or whatever it is that you want to build. Okay, so it now wrote 977 lines of code. Right, what's nice here is you can now fix the bug inside here. So let's fix this bug. Okay, well, let's continue to write the code. See what it's doing there. Okay, so let's wait until it finishes with fixing these bugs. What I'm finding interesting is you can see how it's going here, and it is looking at editing the code itself. So it's currently scanning through the code here, as we can see, by itself, without me having to do anything, which is beneficial. One thing I would say, though, is it would be very awesome if it can go much quicker. Well, it doesn't say how long it's currently doing this, but it feels like at least 10 to 15 minutes, and it's just going through this code in such a slow manner. Okay, it looks like it finished up with the entire front end. Okay, so here we have courses, community, calendar, messages, profile. Let's see what else we have here. Okay, we can look at the courses, the members, the health, how many members. Okay, this is not bad. And then there's a lot of different dev stuff that we can test, which I think is definitely highly beneficial. So now what we want to do, we want to take this prompt. Again, guys, this prompt is in the school community. And then I will say to chat, now, taken what you've built, create a system prompt similar to this one. So let's see what it will come up with here. So this is what it's giving us. I think this is extremely comprehensive and very well structured. Then what we can also do is we can turn this into a application and design template. So I'll say also fill out this template for me based on the above provided information. Ensure this is focused on being developed on Replit. What I do appreciate is the way that we can see that how these agents reason with one another. Okay, so this is what it's currently giving us based on the template. Gives us the core architecture, the key user functionalities, the memory optimization, the API infrastructure, the expanded breakdown with key user flows, the scalability considerations, the security architecture, and also the recommended build approach, which I think is fantastic. If you guys want me to go and build this out in Replit, I'll make another video on that. Just let me know down in the comments below. So what does all of this mean? It means the barrier between your idea and functional product just got 10 times smaller, and the game has changed for non-technical founders. This is the lowest hanging fruit you'll find at the moment in time, additional to other full stack coding platforms like Replit as an example. So if you want to get started, don't forget to grab the free app planning template. It's down in the description below. It's the first step to getting your ideas structured. And if you want to jump in with both feet and get the system prompt with a lot of additional value, check out the AI Founders Vault. It's a school community. You can get instant access to it down in the description below. Within the community, you get the AI Builders Challenge, where you go from an idea to a working app in just 5 days. And also the AI Made Simple course. It's a full 91 curated lesson curriculum, giving you the insights to learn AI from beginner to advanced. And also I've added in Outbound Mastery, 39 lessons with complete SOPs, templates, agreements, everything that we've developed and used. Then you'll also get access to 1,300 plus end-to-end templates with a lot of additional templates of all the YouTube gurus you see out there teaching AI automation. You'll also get access to 1,500 categorized prompts inside of the community that's focused a lot on the marketing and positioning of your offer. And then also you get the Agent Vault. It's repos of over 400 agents, and you can go and test them out, open source, closed source. And we've also add additional value in there, like free API providers, custom GPTs, beta access to our software that we release before it goes public. You guys get that at no additional cost. There's also an additional piece of value in there that I think you'll like a lot, but I'm going to leave that to you to go check out in your own time. Guys, the potential here is massive, and I've added a fantastic segment from the ChatGPT launch from Michael Trill, the founder and CEO of Cursor, where he shares his thoughts on using GPT-5 and what it means for the future of development. Stick around to watch that right after this. And if you're building something yourself, drop it down in the comments. We'd love to check it out. See you in the next one.
What was the first experience you had with GPT-5?
When you use GPT-5, you feel the intelligence aspect shine through. It's fast, that it can do things like entire tasks interactively, like refactors, to a degree that feels like it hasn't been possible before. We had run into a pernicious bug in our dev build that affected performance, and used GPT-5 to scope out the initial investigation. Was shocked at the intelligence of the model. If you go back before the era of LLMs, what would have taken someone weeks of onboarding to a code base? GPT-5 did in a couple of minutes.
That is just a wild fact.
Yes.
Just absolutely wild. I feel like today we should show how far this model has come.
Yeah, we're not just going to do kind of a small sketch of a tiny game. It's going to be a real working software application. We have a very nice wireframe here of an application that we're going to try building with GPT-5 and Cursor. We're going to bring this into Cursor, and we're going to put this wireframe in, and we're going to ask GPT-5 to go and try and build an application from scratch. We have been using GPT-5 as our daily driver. When one uses it as a daily driver within Cursor, that's for things like finding bugs, that's for things like planning out a PR, that's for things like in cases where, a feature is pretty scoped, actually trying to do it end-to-end with the model over the course of a multi-turn conversation.
So maybe we should take a look at what the model's been up to.
Yes, let's see. Oh my gosh. No, but I mean, that is actually pretty amazing. Fully interactive.
This has come a long way since the napkin of a little joke website before.
Yeah.
Fully interactive.
Work. Oh, that delete functionality works. Could also make these windows resizable, these panes.
That's a good idea.
I see the line, and
I'm not a front-end programmer at all.
Okay.
And so the thing that I find very, very nice about these kinds of tools is that for areas where you're not a deep domain expert, you're suddenly empowered. It just removes this whole barrier to entry.
The correction ability, both from doing things like getting lints for the code and running the code, but then also just from human instructions, has improved a ton. Used to be they would go down a path, and then they would be stuck in that rabbit hole, and it would be hopeless.
Yes.
And GPT-5 can correct itself, even for onboarding. It's kind of amazing when you have someone new onboarding to a code base.
Yes.
Just the power of asking the AI, where things are, how things work, and at the speed at which you can come on board.
What's been the most surprising thing to you about GPT-5 so far?
The intelligence for the speed. GPT-4 comes out. GPT-4 is really exciting. It's a little bit slow. GPT-5 packs in a ton of intelligence to something that's really fast and fast enough that you can work with it interactively. GPT-5 is really good at detecting bugs, actually, and detecting thorny bugs. When you give it a lot of detail up front, it is shockingly good at actually grokking that and understanding all of that detail. It doesn't have just like some kind of like fuzzy, smooth pass over all the instructions that you're giving it. It actually understands what you're saying, which is a big step forward.
Code migrations are kind of a killer feature for the enterprise. That code migrations are one of those things that are so expensive for companies to do that there's like, if you lower the barrier to that, there will be just 10x more of them that happen. It's not just about the raw model capability, but about services like Cursor that actually deliver value to the developer community.
We have been surprised at its ability on real hard refactors that require trying things, correcting oneself, working across many files over a long period of time. But I think that the magic really happens when you're going about your day as normal, and then you can do your work 20% faster immediately. 30% can be delegated to an AI.
I think that just shows that we're starting to be able to solve really hard problems, right? And have AIs that go off and think not just for minutes, but think for hours. And of course, where we want to go is think for days, think for months, in order to solve problems that are worthy of that level of waiting. When they're quite incapable, you really have to do a lot of work to bring the tool to the model. But if the model's able to use a browser, it's able to use a desktop, suddenly integration is just a very different kind of thing.
Yeah, it feels like the start of the whole software development lifecycle changing. To go from this world where you're working one-on-one with kind of an autocomplete system that can be really powerful for programmers, and one-on-one with a local agent, to one where you're working with multiple in parallel, and orchestrating them all and having that be a fun, productive, fast development experience. So I'm really excited for a world where there's like a heads-up display, and it's like a little bit, one way to think about it is like it's a little bit more like an RTS where, you've got all your kind of parallel agents going, working alongside each other, and like understanding what the status is of each of those, being able to jump in, gain context quickly, intervene. Programming is this human compilation step of, you know what's in your head, you know what you want to see on the screen, and then you have to go turn it into formal programming languages. And to the extent we can kind of remove the like weird jump through 10,000 hoops human compilation step and just have it be about the thing that you want to show up and how you want it to work.
Promise of computers is to empower humans, right? So it's like the human wants to do a thing, and now there's a helper. But the whole history of computers has been the human contorting ourselves to the machine,
Yes.
right? Like going and writing assembly code, and
Yes.
we've moved further up that layer of
Yes.
abstraction. But AI is like finally fulfilling the promise of what computers were meant to be the whole time.
It has always felt like, or it's felt like, AI's done a lot on the like one person, few person building something from scratch front, but just, I feel like it's underrated by people who aren't working in professional development, just how far away we are from the ceiling of speeding up development in an environment where you have hundreds of people, millions of lines, tens of millions of lines of code.
Here we are having a nice conversation about the model while the model's out there doing all of this labor, and that, we are still involved, right? We still provide oversight. We're still trying to understand what it's doing.
Over the course of the next year, we are excited for how programming languages are going to change as this tech gets better and better. And maybe it will be possible for you to look less at, things like the underlying JavaScript and look at things that are higher level, both for code review, but also maybe also, for helping you actually edit and work with the AI too.
Do you think it is becoming more or less fun to be a programmer?
I think it's definitely becoming more fun. It's a little bit less about digging into lots of various web pages for a few hours, and it's more about what do I want to show up, make it happen quickly, and keep going.
The amount of progress in this field that is still possible. We are at the 1%, the 0.1% of where we will be. It's been really great working with your team, but I think really makes models like GPT-5 shine. It's in interactive experiences like Cursor. Michael.
Thank you for having me.